Hey guys, what's going on? This is Wayne Steven with Next Level Lifestyle. Today, I'm coming at y'all with this album review for Kanye's new album, Ye. But as we listen to this album and break down what we hear, I don't even want this to be an album review more than I want this to be a Kanye review over the last 2-3 years as we compare that behavior with this music. I know a lot of people don't care about that stuff and they like to separate the person from the art, but if you really think about it, with somebody like Kanye, you can't really do that, because we didn't do that with Jay on 444 when he bared his whole soul on 444 and told about his, extramarital affairs and his personal life events, such as his mom being gay and the anxiety he felt, him going to see a therapist. Like, he allowed the music to let you look inside of him and see what was really going on, and people cared. And with the way Kanye's been behaving over the last few years, since the last we heard from him, which was The Life of Pablo, which is an amazing body of work, we've been given a Kanye that is kind of unexplained. And when I listened to this album and was gonna review it, I said, man, like, this album really isn't an album more than it's an artistic expression of somebody dealing with mental illness. And because the album cover says, I hate being bipolar, man, it's awesome. You know what I'm saying? So like when I think about him saying that, or think about that message being there, he's giving people little indicators as to who he is, but it almost doesn't make up for some of the things that he said. I purposely put my psychology degree up there to kind of justify me saying all that stuff, so I'm being mad phony right now. But it's the internet. That's as phony as I'm gonna be right there, me putting that up. But whatever. You can't listen to this album like you're getting ready to listen to music. You have to listen to this album like you're getting ready to listen to somebody express themselves who's been misunderstood over the past few years with the words they've been saying, but they're most comfortable in expressing themselves through their music. You have to listen to this album this way. If you don't, you're gonna miss the whole message and be like, this album is trash. You're gonna have to put on your care hat for this one. This album is for people who have a little bit higher bar of A, compassion, B, introspectiveness, C, common sense. This isn't for the person that's just looking to nod their head. This ain't that. You're gonna nod your head, but this album isn't for just those people. This is for the people. This is for the listeners. This is for the thinkers. This is for the people who like to dissect things and really truly understand people. If you're not a carer, you're not even gonna like this album review. So you're probably gonna shut it off. But if you want to listen and you want to learn and you want to understand why you're listening to this album, this is the album review for you. I'm just saying. See, this is the part where you gotta say, I can relate to that. How many times have you looked at a person who's angered you and you've thought about harming them in a way that your normal mindset throughout your regular day wouldn't even be able to conform those thoughts? But when you're pushed to an extreme, the things you think. And if you think this man hasn't been pushed to an extreme, you're fooling yourself. Just living in that light is extreme. None of us can relate because we're not famous. None of us can relate because we don't have cameras following us around, waiting for us to make a mistake. See, that's another thing. You don't understand because your life isn't scrutinized. This isn't an album review. This is more of a Kanye review, if you really think about it. And like I said, if you're not somebody that's into thinking, you're not gonna like this. But if you are, you're gonna be able to relate on a very real level. But on the, I Thought About Killing You, which is the first track, I feel like it's very telling. It introduces you to the fact that his mind wasn't in a very good space over the last few years. And you're not the only one that knows it. He knows it. he's very self-aware. Like, this is the other thing about Kanye I don't think y'all know. Like, he gets on TV, he says, first of all, okay, let me let you know, I'm not co-signing the whole slave comment that he made. I thought that was ridiculous. I know what he was trying to say, but he didn't really do a great job at letting people understand that he knew he didn't take a proper angle on that until the next day when the fallout came. But what I am saying is, he's letting you know that he knows that his mind isn't present speak in the right place over the last few years. He knows that because he knows you know that, but he wants you to know that he knows it as well. So that's where his self-awareness comes in. Kanye's ear is also one of those things that sets him apart from other producers. There are other producers who make dope beats. You have, a laundry list of producers that make beats. But I feel that Kanye hears the voice of the artist that he's using and then molds the beat to the way that person delivers. That looked like a Hadouken. What am I doing with my hands? But anyways, for example, like you got Just Blaze, amazing producer. He came to mind first because he was a rock staple back in the days. But I feel like anybody could rap over a Just Blaze beat. Swiss Beats is another one. He makes amazing beats, but I feel like anybody could do it. Timbaland, anybody could rap over his beats. You know what I'm saying? Dr. Dre, same thing. Anybody could rap over his beats. So it's just one of those things where Kanye is unique in that sense, and I think that's where his creative genius / insanity comes from, because he's so in tune with what he hears. He's so meticulous that it drives you to a point of bedlam in your mind where you're like, all right, I hear that Push's deliveries like this. I'm trying to use my voice like this on this song. And you hear just the beat and you go, I would never rap over that. And then as soon as Kanye lays his verse over it, you go, now it makes sense. And this is one of those songs that I think about that with. This is another thing that this tells me about this album. Kanye made his album in the last year. He said Russell Simmons wants to break a Me Too. This ain't the first time that he drops a just 2 weeks ago reference in music. He does it later. I'm not gonna say what it is because that's just dumb, because I'm probably gonna wind up playing the part. But that lets me know that the only thing he was working on for all those years was a bunch of beats, because this album is current in its content. That's a lot. That right there is something many artists don't do. I've heard artists be in interviews and be like, yeah, I had this song for a year and a half. Are you serious? That's like telling me you just served me chicken that you had in the back of your freezer for a year and a half. I don't want your year and a half chicken. I want something that you just cooked up just now so I know it's fresh. And Kanye's proven right now that this is fresh. And him also saying, I think to myself, what if it would have happened to me too? Then I'm gonna wind up on E! News. Like, he knows that he's under such a microscope that he can very easily slip and fall into a death trap, for real, when it comes to the way that the media handles him. Again, he's self-aware and he's letting you all know. First of all, Kanye is not some celestial being that doesn't involve himself in the realm of humans. And I think people look at him like that when he says the things that he says. They think he's not somebody that's on social media. He thinks that he's not current, he's just locked away in Wyoming. The reason he's in Wyoming and Utah doing music, because ain't no niggas there. There's no outside influence for him to glean from. He could get in his creative space. Plus, it's for super rich people. I mean, people like, why he in Wyoming? Why he do the streaming from Wyoming? Because he knows how y'all feel about him. Let's keep it real. The Twitter streets have dragged Kanye. I think he's one of the few people I haven't tweeted about. Like, it's just one of the things that if you just sit back and observe and not lend your opinion, you have way more time to analyze what's going on. But that's just a little sidebar. I didn't want to get too deep into that. So don't fault me, because there's somebody that's going to be in the comments and be like, man, you said this was an album review. This is trash. You're supposed to review all the songs, good, bad, or indifferent. And you can go ahead and give it to somebody else because they're not going to offer you the psychological aspect of this situation. See that? That's a psychology degree. You thought he didn't consider the fact that he has daughters. A lot of people say, oh, you know, why is Kanye acting like this? Why can't, you know, if you're going to live for anybody, it might as well be your kids. First of all, you never had mental illness. I lived with people who had mental illnesses. So I understand the fact that whereas reality may be you have a lot to live for, when you're in the midst of an episode, you don't understand that. So like I said, with this album, this is not a Ye album review. This is a Kanye review of who he has been in the public eye over the last few years. And if you don't listen to this album with that in mind, you're gonna miss it. You're not going to take him into consideration. You're gonna continue to misjudge him. You're gonna continue to be like, yo, where's all the music that we got on College Dropout? Where's all the late registration? Da 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 da. Like, grow up. Grow with the artist. That's what music is. We're in a fortunate position. Anybody who was born 78 to 1980, 81, right about there. We're in a privileged position to watch the artists that we kind of grew up with when we came to understand the music we were listening to watch them grow and grow up with them. Think about it. When we were growing up, there were people who were like, yo, you wildin'. Why you doing this? Why you doing that? Did we always know? Because we was living life and messing up. The only difference is we don't have a million cameras following us around. So the next time you think to judge somebody apart from their art form, I want you to think about the fact that you was bugging at some point in your life. This man was bugging in the public eye. Everybody saw it and everybody had an opinion. You were fortunate enough to only have the people around you watch so you could straighten up and fix it. These people are just that. Again, if you're not a thinker and you're not a feeler and you're not an understander, you're not gonna like this review and you're not gonna like this album. If you're a fan of music and watching growth and transparency from an individual, you're gonna love it. Out of the 7 songs, I liked 5 of them a lot. Those 2 that I didn't like them for a very definite reason, because sonically they weren't pleasing to me. Not that I didn't appreciate the fact that he made them. Sonically, they just didn't get me. And it's called Wouldn't Leave and No Mistakes. Please check them out when you listen to it. But for me, I listened to it and I was like, I don't like these. I want to, but I just can't force myself to. This is nothing short, starting with Pusha's album, all the way to Tiana Taylor's album, because I think she's last on the Good Music roster for a release. This is a musical expression of Kanye West through and through. This summer will belong to Kanye. Understand that. I know Drake dropped Scorpion. I can't wait till he does so I can review the album. But this summer belongs to Kanye. Started with Push, went right on to Kanye. Get this album. If you're trying to understand what this man is truly saying and truly being when he's in public. This is Wayne Stephen with Next Level Lifestyle. Yes, sir.